Conyngham Borough Police Department has expanded. I'm pleased to be joined by the Conyngham Mayor, Worcester Uhas, to talk about this latest expansion. Mayor Uhas, how many officers have been added to the force, and why did you feel it was important to increase the police department?
We have two new officers down here in Conyngham, the first one being Officer Michael Saliba, and the second one being Officer Mitchell Muir. We added these two officers. Basically, we got the funding last year for the addition to the police force. We added two part-time officers to that police force. We also got approved funding for our new police car that we will be purchasing very shortly, and also more training for our officers down here in Conyngham.
You just took over as mayor of the borough. Why did you think it was so important to increase the police department, especially in the wake of today's climate?
Basically, when you have more police officers on the force and more police officers working at one time, it gives them a lot of more freedom on how to do their policing. Basically, down here, we're, like I always say, we're a community, we're a family. So we want to do a lot more of the community policing and take a lot of proactive tactics that we can bring down here to make it safer down here for the kids and just for every citizen down here.
How important is that connection between your police officers and the community itself?
Yeah, it is very important to have that connection between the community and the citizens of Conyngham, just so they can get to meet the officers. If you go up to them, have a conversation with them, talk to them. A lot of our officers down here live down here in Conyngham, and the police officers also like that interaction with the community, meeting the people, because that actually makes their job a lot easier for their policing.
I'm pleased to be joined now by Officer Michael Saliba, one of the newest members of the Conyngham Borough Police Department. Officer Saliba, why did you want to become a police officer?
A lot of my family members are involved in law enforcement, and I think that was a big driving thing for me growing up. And also then, plus, just watching officers in the area and people I know that became police officers, I really loved the whole job aspect and being able to help people. So it just always called to me, so I followed that path.
Hopefully things can get back to normal, that we can have a good rapport between all police officers and the community. Were you worried about that when you became a police officer?
I wasn't worried about it. I have a very good relationship with a lot of people, I would say, and I think I look forward to a lot of community-oriented policing, especially in Conyngham Borough. I think I could have a very good relationship with the community here, so I think it'll be a very positive experience and a lot of good outcomes from it, and I think it's going to work out very well.
Now pleased to be talking with the other new officer for the borough of Conyngham, and that is Officer Mitchell Muir. Officer Muir, I'll ask you the same question. What made you want to become a police officer?
I started having interest in it when I went to a military college up in Vermont, where we had a largely regimented lifestyle, and we had quite a high police presence on campus, and that's kind of was a driving force in my interest in the profession. So,
do you think you're taking on this task now at a difficult time in law enforcement?
I think it's always going to be difficult. This profession is never easy, so it's just a matter of coming to terms with that and going to work.
What is the message you have for the new constituents now, the new residents that you will be protecting and serving?
I would say, as far as my form of policing, I think that community policing and police presence is most important. And so that's what the residents should look forward to, is a more police presence, but that doesn't necessarily mean, anything bad is going on, but, we like to show ourselves more frequently to the community so that they know that we're always going to be there.
And lastly, Mayor, if residents in the community do need the services of your police department, what do they do? How do they get in touch?
Well, if it is an emergency, you call 911, because that would be the way the fastest person would be able to get down there. But any non-life-threatening or any major emergency, you could either call the borough building or you can call the police department especially.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Feisner's Ford in Freeland, who is celebrating 75 years in business. Give them a call at 570-636-3920, or you can log on to feisnersford.com.